All right, let's dive right in. We're going to tackle a question that I think we've all asked ourselves at some point. Is he actually building a future with me, or am I just a convenient stop along the way? Today, we're going to walk through a guide that's designed to give you the tools to figure out a man's real intentions with total clarity.
So this is really the core of what we're talking about today. You can forget the whole he loves me not guesswork. The idea here is that you can actually diagnose his intent with, real psychological precision. It's all about swapping out that confusing emotional ambiguity for a clear, evidence-based understanding.
Okay, here's our game plan. First, we'll break down the huge difference between an architect and a consumer. Then we'll get into decoding his frequency, reading those unspoken signals he can't hide, auditing his investments in you, and finally, we'll talk about the powerful choice that is always yours to make.
So, first things first, we've got to frame this whole thing around one core question. Is the man in your life an architect, someone who's actually drawing up blueprints and building a shared future with you? Or is he a consumer, just kind of passing through, enjoying the experience for a season before he moves on to the next thing?
The difference here is simple, but it is so powerful. A consumer, he runs on infatuation. It's intense, it's exciting, but ultimately, it's temporary. It's like a firework. The architect, on the other hand, operates on commitment. His actions aren't just about the here and now. They are the actual building blocks for a future that he pictures with you in it.
Okay, so let's get into our first diagnostic tool, the 3 frequencies. I want you to think of this like an initial scan, right? It's to gauge the overall vibe he's putting out there. This is the big picture, the context, before we zoom in on all the little details.
Let's break these down. First, you have active interest. This is the hunter. He's the one pursuing you, making the plans, asking questions because he's genuinely curious about who you are. Then there's passive interest. This is the follower. He'll respond if you reach out, sure, but that proactive energy is gone. The source calls this routine fatigue. And finally, you have non-interest. This is the void. Avoidance, ignoring texts, one-word answers. And the most important thing to remember here is this is never a reflection of your worth. It is just a crystal clear signal that you two are incompatible. That's it.
So, we've covered the big picture, the general frequency. Now it's time to zoom in, way in. Let's get into the microanalysis. This is where we learn to look right past his words and focus on the signals his body physically cannot hide.
And this is where it gets really fascinating. When a man is genuinely attracted to you, his brain kicks off this hormonal surge of testosterone and adrenaline. It's just pure biology. And this creates physical tells that are way more reliable than any smooth line he could ever practice. His body, quite literally, cannot lie. So what should you be looking for? Well, first, there's the Mydriasis Effect. Check his pupils. If they're dilated, his brain is literally trying to open up to take in more of you. Second, listen to his voice. Is it a little shaky, maybe faltering just a bit? That's not just him being nervous. It's a sign that to him, the stakes in this interaction feel really high. And third, watch for that craving for proximity. Those accidental little touches on your arm or your back? That's not an accident. It's driven by a deep biological pull to be closer to you.
Okay, so we've looked at the subconscious stuff, the things he can't control. Now let's audit the things he can control. This section is all about his conscious, deliberate actions, the things that prove he's investing his most valuable resources, like his time and trust, into you. I want you to use this 4-step audit as a checklist for real investment. 1. Does he have a provider instinct? Is he acting like a guardian angel, using his time and resources to make you feel safe and secure? 2. Has he crossed the vulnerability threshold? Does he make you his safe harbor by sharing his fears and his weaknesses? 3. Social integration. Has he introduced you to his friends? That's the first gate. And the big one, has he introduced you to his family? That's the final gate. And 4, does he talk about the future with you? If he avoids any talk about a shared life, chances are he's just passing through.
And here's a super critical distinction to make, and it all boils down to one simple thing: listening. See, a narcissist talks at you. He uses you as an audience, a mirror to reflect his own greatness. But a true partner, he listens to you. He genuinely wants to know your thoughts, how you're feeling, your well-being. It sounds simple, but that difference is absolutely profound.
Okay, let's bring all of this together. This last part is all about taking this knowledge, all these diagnostic tools, and using them to empower your choices. This is about being clear, playing defense, and really recognizing the power you hold.
Now, the source material points out a very specific and very modern danger.
The Alphonse, or what you might call a financial predator. This is a man who has perfected the language of love and connection for one reason: to prey on successful, intelligent women. It is a massive red flag you have to be aware of.
So, how do you spot one? Well, the test is surprisingly simple. The red flag is when he suddenly has some kind of manufactured financial emergency that he insists only you can solve. Look, according to the source, a man with genuine pride and self-respect would find it humiliating to ask his partner for money. That's what banks are for, what friends are for. So the solution is definitive. You cut off the money. A partner, an architect, will stay and figure it out. A predator will disappear as soon as his resource dries up. So, the most important point here is this. You have to synthesize all the data. You can't just fixate on one little signal. You have to look at the total picture, from his big picture frequency all the way down to his micro expressions. And always, always remember to weigh the evidence correctly. Words can be practiced, they can be a performance, but the body's subconscious signals, they tell the truth. And when it comes right down to it, this is probably the most empowering idea of all. The level and the quality of interest you attract is so often a direct mirror of your own self-worth. When you maintain your own high standards, your own full life, your own hobbies, you create this incredible natural filter. The consumers, they just fall away, and you become a magnet for a true architect. And so that leaves us with one final thought. Now that you have this entire framework in your mind, from his subconscious signals to his conscious investments, what's the very first thing you're going to start observing differently? The power to diagnose is officially in your hands now.
You can find the electronic version of book She Who Awakens by Alina Chamberlain at wishforlove.org.